Good evening, everybody, and welcome to SDGC on Thursday, January 24th, I believe it is. One day before Resident Evil 2 drops, of course. I've been playing it for the past week, and it's fucking awesome. And I can't wait.
Boo.
I can't wait for everybody here to finally experience this amazing game tomorrow. So what the deal is tonight, guys, is we've got half an hour of actual no shit gaming industry news to talk about. It's been a lot of really cool NPD stuff. And Matt Piscatella, who is everybody who watches this show, everybody knows Matt by this point. Like, Matt joins us every month to talk about all the blessed NPD news and tell us about how terribly the games industry is doing and about how all the CNN articles in 2012 are finally coming to fruition, and it's all going down in flames. And after that, we are going to take a short break, and we will be back with the actual show, the live show at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Jeff Grubb from GamesBeat, and of course our very good friend Tom Johnson from GameRanks. That's going to be an utter fucking disaster of a podcast, and I can't wait to experience it. It's going to be so good. Tonight we got on the panel, we got Derek up in the corner. What's up, man?
What's going on, everybody?
Jeff, who I'm just still so fucking happy to see back on this podcast. Jeff, how you doing, bud?
I'm good, actually. I'm recovering from my poor dinner choices.
That was Matt. Did you see what Jeff tweeted out, Matt?
Don't repeat it.
I did not.
Super embarrassing.
You just. I'll
The
tell you
problem
about
is
it.
I just eat whatever random foods around the house, and then I just decide to drink random stuff, and then sometimes I stop and think, I'm like, I just had a beer, a pop, and yeah, it's
And a pickle and a Tupperware of some rice.
Yeah.
Like,
You're fucking mixing random foods. And Justin is here as well. Justin, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well. And speaking of things going well, the industry, all my stupid jokes aside, is doing exceptionally well right now. And to tell us all about it is Matt Piscatella, as always, from NPD. So, Matt, why don't you tell us about how good them video games are doing?
Everything's doomed.
Well,
We're done. That's it.
That's it.
That's
That's it. We'll see everybody. We'll see everybody tomorrow night or next
A
next
good
week
half
or
hour.
whatever.
No, everything's good. I mean, this month, Switch really did some big work thanks to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate,
Unbelievable.
which is the biggest launch for an exclusive title in history. That helped the Switch really push numbers. And overall, software is a little bit lighter than we thought, but accessories and game cards were really strong. But really, this month was Switch, it was Smash, it was, and then game pads and headsets, and of course, Call of Duty and Red Dead were still right at the top of the list. So all in all, really strong holiday quarter, really strong December. Track sales up 13% on the year. That's pretty darn good.
So I just want to point out something to everybody, but especially Zach the Smack Robertson in chat right there. Everybody poo-pooed Smash Ultimate and said, "Oh, it's Smash games don't sell great. They don't sell." This is the guy right here, and I will fucking pull up the episodes where I said it. This is the guy right here that said Smash Ultimate is going to do fucking insane numbers.
now in everyone else's defense, John, the data didn't back you up because Smash sells good, but
yeah,
it's never been Nintendo's top seller.
The two of us were probably the most bullish on it out of the group, for example, and I was still probably more bullish than a lot of people broadly in the industry, but like I still had no clue that it was going to do this well because, like you said, Jeff, Smash does good, but it's not like this.
But so here's the real point behind all this. I finally got one fucking right. I finally got one right. Okay, that's all I care about.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, well done. I didn't put it on my top 10 predictions list. I thought it was coming out too late. I thought that it was really going to be a Pokemon Christmas, and man, Smash just blew away anyone else's expectation. And I mean, shoot, like the kind of numbers we're talking about in just a few weeks we haven't seen them before. So
yeah,
all in all, really great holiday for Smash. Wow.
So I have a question. The Switch, I remember reading, and if anybody in chat has not gone back and seen all the really interesting information that Matt has been tweeting out about this the past week, like I highly recommend you go check it out because it's fascinating stuff. But I remember seeing that the Switch had the best performance sales wise for a console this month than any other month this gen. This is the single best month for a console this current generation. and the Switch ended 2018 as the highest selling console. Is that right, Matt? Okay, so was it November, or I'm sorry, was it December that pushed the Switch over the edge?
Yeah, I mean, PlayStation 4, which had an amazing year itself, and heck, for that matter, Xbox One had a great year. But PS4 had been leading the way for January through November. Um, but Switch and Nintendo platforms in general always have very strong Decembers. I mean, that's really when they shine. And with Pokemon and of course Smash, it really shined a lot more than I think most people thought. I mean, I was expecting maybe it would squeak in to the lead position for the year, but nope, it just decided that it was gonna bulldoze everything around the corner.
Kind of barreled in there real hard.
It did, and a couple other things happened. Like, so Sony wasn't really promoting very heavily around Christmas. They've had such a great year. They didn't really feel the need to. Xbox One has had a really good growth year themselves, but really, holiday was all about Smash and Switch. So, like for a December month, it was the best December since the Nintendo Wii in December of 2009.
Jesus, that's fucking
Um,
insane. God damn.
yeah, so we're talking numbers that we haven't seen in 10 years.
And just imagine what this year is going to be. I mean, think about the titles that are potentially coming out this year. You got, there's some kind of a Metroid title coming this year. Nobody knows if it's going to be Prime Trilogy or 4, but there's going to be a Metroid title this year. There's all those rumors.
It's
I mean, there's a
funny that
mainline.
John thinks Metroid is going to be a big system mover.
Hey, you know what? Fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you, because I said that Smash was going to be a big seller, and nobody believed me. And look at that
John,
shit.
these things are not connected.
Yeah.
I'm just
Pokemon
Like,
and
John,
Animal
you
Crossing.
saying it is not connected to
No,
it
what I'm saying
becoming
is
true.
that I've got the magic touch. Okay, I've got the
John,
touch.
John,
Okay,
no one
I'm
on
sure
this
that
show
I'm
wants
sure that Matt will
Metroid to
factor
be a
that into
system
his
seller
predictions.
as much as I do.
except
Oh no, excluding you. I'm telling you, that ain't happening.
Okay,
However, everything else the Switch has this year, plus I expect
there's a
I
mainline.
expect PS4 and Xbox One to slow down considerably in
I don't know. First party content doesn't seem that we know of particularly strong on. Because we don't know what's coming.
Yeah, that's the problem, right?
But like third party output, at least these first couple of months, is really really strong. Like Resident Evil 2 is going to be huge. You've got Kingdom Hearts coming. What, a week away?
No,
for us in
Kingdom
the
Hearts is
US?
like next Tuesday, dude.
It's
That's less than a
Tuesday.
week.
It's like
Oh my
4
God.
days.
tomorrow, wasn't it?
Yeah,
In Japan.
Well,
It's
okay.
tomorrow in Japan.
Yeah, Zach in chat asks a really good question. Matt, do you think we're seeing PlayStation slow slightly because PS4 is basically running out of people to sell to, or?
No, so PS4. So when you look at historical trends, right? You look at all the cycles in history. The last 2 years for PlayStation 4 have been so far above what one would normally expect from a normal cyclical sales curve. So like it's been overperforming for a very long time. And one of the things that people aren't really catching on to, because of course they can't because they don't have the data, is that price points haven't been coming down on hardware. Like the average price someone or the average amount someone pays for a PS4 or an Xbox One are actually flat or up this year. So we're not seeing like in history when this time around, like when the PS2 was around this long, we saw all these really steep price drops that really drove units. They don't have to do that. The sales curve is still very, very strong at an elevated price point. So they're going to go ahead and take advantage of that and make more per unit. Sure, they're not selling maybe as many units as they could, but they're making more money doing this probably. So eventually, it depends on what their plans are. If PS5 is 2020 and holiday, then they still have 2 years to work with the PlayStation 4. This gives them a lot of opportunity to do things like price promote, to bundle promote, to really help sustain this curve for the next 2 years. But when we look at the numbers, whether it's X1, PS4, Switch, mobile, or PC, we keep seeing more people showing up. We're seeing a higher incidence of cross ownership, so people owning more than one console. So I don't think we're running out of consumers. I think that perhaps the price sensitivity, the price points haven't got to the point where the price sensitive shoppers are jumping on board quite yet.
So
Wow.
I mean, because also in November we did see huge performance for the PS4 with that
Right,
199
yeah, that was
Spider-Man
massive.
bundle.
right. They sold
Like
out in like 3 hours, and they didn't
Fucking
come back with
nuts.
that again in December, right? Which tells you that
they
they
probably
didn't
couldn't
want to.
afford to do that many of those.
Well, I mean, they
Or
could have.
well, yeah.
They could have, but why do that if
You don't have
if you
to.
if you if you hit that price promotion button too much, then all of a sudden your base price is lower than it otherwise would be, right? So, they're doing more of a classic high-low strategy, which is keep the price high, and then when you do discount, you see these huge, massive lifts. Whereas like an Xbox One S, you can get regularly promoted, and so I think they're really taking advantage of that premium position in the market, which is what they should do with their positioning.
And
So
also just we do have worldwide numbers for Sony for this holiday, right? They said it was like 18 million, the second best holiday. I think Sony gave an update at CES this year, right?
I don't recall. I don't know if anyone else does.
I think it was like 90 million. I think worldwide
91.
It
91
was 91.6, worldwide. I
sold
think
through, but and it's
sold
best
through
to
it, yeah.
sold through, not selling you. These
Yeah,
are
and
actually
I-
considering people's homes.
But I think they also said it was like 18 million for the holiday. It was their second best
Yeah,
holiday.
it was something like that.
And
Um,
while we're on this topic, if I can,
Please.
and sorry not to steal Matt's thunder, this data is an NPD, but we did get
Fine.
some global sales numbers for the Xbox One, which is pretty rare.
Oh, interesting.
Our
Oh,
friend,
we
of
did?
the show, Z Huge.
Oh,
So
Z.
he's
Oh,
artificially from Microsoft, but as we all know, he's pretty good with this stuff. He puts it at around 41 million globally, and says that the digital share on Xbox compared to other platforms is much higher in terms of the digital
Interesting.
physical split, which is interesting. So I thought maybe the global number for Xbox might be worth a quick talk, and then if you guys have any opinions on why the digital market share is so much larger there. I got some ideas, but just figured that's worth bringing up at this point.
Well,
That's
what's
cool.
interesting?
I didn't hear that.
What's interesting to me is that worldwide, like we all know that Xbox doesn't perform in across the rest of the world the way it traditionally does in the United States and Canada. But that would put Xbox at less than half of what PS4 is sold worldwide, which is that's not a, like, I don't know, Matt. Worldwide, I mean, what are we now? Almost 6 years into the generation, 5.5 years, something like that. Where is are those healthy numbers worldwide right now for Microsoft? 41 million sold, 5.5 years in.
I have no idea. I have no visibility onto European or Asian data, so I wouldn't even want to hazard an opinion on it.
Okay, that makes sense.
I mean, in the U.S. market, like you said, much stronger performance. I think the two are a lot closer than people might think.
Yeah, I think
But
you're right.
yeah,
about that.
worldwide, it's a whole different story.
I think you're right about that. That's interesting. That's the last time we got Microsoft console sales numbers. God, it had to have been years, right? Like it's been a couple years since
we get estimates every so often, and years ago it was around 35 million. So
yeah, the last like official number I remember getting was like 10 million or something. Like they haven't given the official number in a long time. And that's actually a lower number than I expected, but I'm not surprised about the higher digital.
So that's something that I would like to throw at Matt. So like Jeff, are there actual numbers there for digital sales?
No, I tried to look deeper into it. It just says there's a large digital share on Xbox compared to other platforms.
Interesting. Matt, do you want to wager a guess as to why you think that might be?
So unfortunately, due to data sharing agreements we have with our publishing partners, I can't actually speak to splits between physical and digital. I won't say that statement's wrong, but I can't confirm that it's right.
That's a very, very diplomatic answer.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Well, Matt, are you okay if we just talk about it and you just kind of...
Man, live your dream.
He just can't comment on it.
I was just going to say, I think it might speak to the confidence in the Xbox ecosystem with what they've been doing with backwards compatibility all their services. People know, especially as we approach the end of the generation, if they buy Rainbow Six Siege on their Xbox One, whenever the next Xbox comes, they know they'll still be able to play that game on the next Xbox. Everything, I think people feel secure in their purchases and they're future-proof, and they know Microsoft's going to look after them in that regard. And I think,
and I think just in general, like Microsoft as like a whole company has really focused on subscriptions and digital ecosystems and stuff. And I think even even aside from like the backwards compatibility thing, which I do think is a significant contributing factor, I think people just feel comfortable in buying stuff like that from Microsoft. And people that like Xbox really like the Xbox ecosystem. They really like using Xbox Live. And I think just in general, just from what I've noticed, like even just among like enthusiast discussions, I think people are a lot more open to things like Game Pass and stuff than like the PlayStation fan base is. Because like I remember like when PlayStation Now was announced, it was met with a lot of skepticism. But like Microsoft has now started talking about Project xCloud. And people are really positive and really excited for it. And even the same thing, like with, PS4 Pro versus Xbox One X reactions, like people in the Microsoft camp were much more welcoming to that kind of change. And I think just, traditionally Microsoft, like customers are much more in tune with like, investing in an ecosystem, carrying it forward, all that sort of thing. So it doesn't really surprise me. Like, I think a lot of the PlayStation fan base these days is a bit more traditional console oriented. And I think we've seen that in the strategies that, Sony has been doing this generation.
Well,
while Microsoft is going with a lot more of the tech company ecosystem.
Well, I also think the real question for me is whether or not Game Pass is included in these numbers, right? Because if Game Pass is included in these numbers, then that makes a hell of a lot of sense.
Well, yeah. And keep in mind, like Game Pass, you can install the game with Game Pass, and then it's very easy to just click that purchase button, and then you've got your save game with you, your progress. The game's already installed.
So I've actually got so I want to bring Matt back into the conversation. I've got a question for Matt that's been kind of sitting in the back of my head ever since we started talking about Nintendo sales, and is there a sense in the sales analytic community, Matt, that Nintendo may are people getting a little more bullish on Nintendo hitting that 20 million benchmark by March, or is that still just a pipe dream?
He asked about his favorite number in his entire fucking job now.
I'm going to ask. The question must be asked, Derek.
It's the obsession over this 20 million number. I just can't understand it.
They're hitting 19 and a half, and Nintendo will be doomed.
To me, man. I just want to know if it's going to happen.
Seriously, shit. So there is no consensus. In fact, like I've never seen a group of people so not in sync on one particular thing than this. You see wide variations between the financial analysts. You've got some people talking about production runs and for components and trying to make estimates out of that. You've got even the analyst side all over the board. I don't get it. Looking at these sales numbers, man, if you have the best year in 10 years in a December that any console's had, and the publisher that manufactures that console is the leading publisher in the market, despite us not even tracking their digital sales.
That's nuts.
And digital sales are meaningful on Switch. I don't understand that there's still
impossible
this
anymore.
Intense bearishness from some areas of the financial community and the analyst community. I don't understand it.
I've never seen this kind of just industry-wide fixation on a sales number as I have this Nintendo 20 million number.
Never. Not since Atari, the 2600 or the big video game crash of '83 when they were burying Atari games. It's just,
but like the reason I'm so interested in it is because other people are interested in it, right? Like people are so fixated on this shit.
I think the reason this one gets brought up is because it's a very like it was a very bullish statement from Nintendo, and that's a bit uncharacteristic of Nintendo. I like they were very kind of like, hey, we're gonna go big for this. And it's been a while since Nintendo's been in a position where they were able to do that. And I think they don't really tend to, you know, openly state that they're, you know, aiming that high. And I think because of that, it seemed kind of uncharacteristic and, you know, exciting. But
you
yeah,
guys,
people have gotten really obsessed over that number.
You guys also know what's going to happen if Nintendo hits that benchmark. Then people are going to say the console wars are over. Nintendo has won video games completely, and if it doesn't hit that 20 million number, people are going to say Nintendo is now dead. It doesn't matter if it's 19.8 million. Well, they didn't hit 20 million, so it's all.
Which is weird because if you want to look at the story of this year, all three console manufacturers are doing fantastic. You know, this is not victory is not mutually exclusive in this. Everyone's succeeding.
And that's kind of the thing that's really exciting. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Matt. I think that's kind of the thing for me that's really exciting about where this industry is going because, you know, with the way, you know, things have gone in the past, there's been a lot of discussion about if, you know, the industry can really actually support three major console manufacturers and platform holders because generally we've had two do quite well, usually one doing very well, and then somebody getting kind of, you know, knocked out due to various mistakes and stuff. And the past couple of years have kind of proven that yes, like all three of these platform holders do offer something that people want and have been very successful. And a lot of the games have also been, you know, very successful. Like
Smash Brothers, like I predicted.
Yeah, Nintendo and Sony's games have been doing bigger numbers than ever the past couple years, and I think
let's not forget Spider-Man either, right? Spider-Man fucking blew everything out of the water. Like, I mean, that was fucking insane. I also want to mention real quick. Matt, if memory serves me correctly, you stated that Red Dead Redemption 2 was the best-selling game of the year. So no surprises there, right? That falls pretty much in line with what you were anticipating.
Yeah, knew it'd be very close this year between Red Dead 2 and Call of Duty, and it was. And yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2 was the bestseller for the year.
I thought you said Red Dead Reddit 2. I was like, that's not a game that anybody wants.
It's been a week.
Nobody wants fucking Red Dead Reddit 2.
Oh, we lost.
Did we lose Jeff? Jeff decided he's fucking had enough of this podcast. There he is. He's back. Jeff is back.
And I was just gonna say Oh, you go ahead, Matt.
Oh yeah, to go back to Justin's point, you know, the difference this time around is that we have three console platforms that are highly differentiated. Well, much more differentiated than we've had in the past. The cross ownership rates between PS4 and Xbox One are pretty high. 1 in 4 people that own one of the boxes owns the other. The cross ownership rates between PS4, X1, and Switch are very, very high. So we're seeing a lot more people buy multiple systems because they're offering very kind of different approaches of gaming and different games and different ways of playing. And I think that's the difference this time around, is that they're all not trying to be the same thing like we saw in the PS2, Xbox Cube era with all of the same games doing the same stuff.
Yeah.
So, Derek, we're pushing up against our stopping point here.
Yeah. I was gonna say we're running low on time. Just before we went, I wanted to give one last shout out. As you pointed out in your thread, Matt, you did a prediction of what you thought the top 10 selling games of the year would be, and lo and behold, the only two things that were drastically off were Fallout 76 being on the list and Smash Brothers not being on the list. And frankly, like, nobody beginning of the year, early in the year, really thought that Fallout 76 was going to turn out the way that it did, for better or for worse, which is really just for worse. And we've already been over how nobody could realistically have expected Smash Ultimate to do nearly as well as it did in only a single month.
Except for me.
And we heard my comments about that. So
I anticipated this.
I just want to say once again, anybody whoever
I've now disgusted Jeff to the point where he's bouncing.
Anyone who ever doubts the quality of your work, you know, that's all I got to say.
Well, that's very kind. I hope you tell that to all of our clients.
And anybody who doubts the quality of our podcast, you are 100% correct. Derek, you want to? So we'll go ahead. Matt, dude, thank you so much for as always, man. Your monthly NPD stuff. I love it. I look forward to this a great deal, man.
Always fun. Say hey to the rest of the guests for me.
We will. And
I'll see you next time.
Speaking of our guests, we're going to take a short commercial break, and we will be back live with Jeff Grubb from GamesBeat and Tom Johnson from GameRank. So please stay tuned.